And we are now live.
Thank you. This is a continuation of the Senate Appropriations Committee's work on the budget adjustment. And this afternoon, our first witness and request is related to the Agency of Digital Services. And we have Secretary Quinn here to present the request, the budget request that is included in the governor's proposed BAA. So I'm going to let you take it from here, Secretary Quinn, and thank you for being available this afternoon.
Well, thank you for having me in, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to take up this request. As all of you know, cybersecurity has been a foundational point of what ADS has been really trying to strengthen our posture on and really make sure that not only we're protecting our data, our citizens' data, but our applications and trying to protect the liability of the state and the finances of the state. To date, we've spent about $17 million between fiscal year 18 and now on cybersecurity, and that includes the operations of our program as well, with staff and numerous requests that we've put in for different softwares, as well as a agreement with Norwich University to help us with some of the log aggregation and detection of potential incidents on our network. So today the request is for $3.3 million for a systems information and event management system. And what this will allow us to do is centralize all the different log data capturing systems that we have that are, really not efficient in any way and do not give us the ability to quickly respond if we do happen to catch something. It also only makes up about 60% of our overall network. So there's quite a piece of our network, quite a piece of the systems that we run that we don't have the proper logging and event management capturing going on. And, capturing and analyzing logs is a foundational point of cybersecurity to make sure that if something is going on, if an incident occurs, if someone is trying to access a system, that we can see where they entered through or where they tried to enter through and stop it before it spreads across the network. It also helps us in the case of being able to go back and track to make sure that we can plug those holes when there is an incident. We thought a lot about this request as we came to this legislative session and said, this is something based on the maturity of our organization, this is really the next step. And looking at our network now, looking at the number of events that we've had in the past year, we've had about 700 incidents over the past year. An incident is where someone actually got into our network or got past the first firewall. All of those were minor. None of them were able to pull data out of our network, but they were things that we had to go back and try to piece together logs. That average is 2 a day, and I can tell you that most of these things last several days. So as you can imagine, it's been very hard for us to piece together how people are getting in and what they're getting into. So this request of $3.3 million is really the next step in securing our network and building our cybersecurity posture to ensure the safety of Vermont's data.
So a big chunk of the appropriation is is it for the acquisition of software, or is it licensing of the software? Exactly.
Yep. So 2.3 million of it is the implementation to have a vendor come on site to not only analyze what we're doing now with our logs, but to build the architecture and plan for bringing all these logs into a centralized system. The $1 million ask is going to be a reoccurring ask, but because we need to buy it up front with with the implementation we asked for in this request, and that's how we get to 3.3 million. So in the out years, you'll see a up in our allocation ask due to this project.
Okay, so that ongoing operating cost of $1 million a year would be cost allocated across all the users of the system in the state.
Yes, ma'am.
So we would see that as part of those indirect costs. And
Yep.
I'm assuming that the budget, 23 budget reflects the anticipation of those operating costs being experienced.
We are asked, so in this request, because of the timing, we're expecting that this will cover the 23 ask.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yep.
So
in 24, we will see that.
Okay. All right. I was just wondering, because we're kind of far into this fiscal year, and I was thinking,
Right.
if it were $1 million for the balance of 22, it would be quite a bit more when you annualized it.
Right.
So this is a software solution, but you're having a contractor come in to analyze the current system and vulnerabilities and to try to get it better organized. I guess my question is, how much of it is consulting versus software?
Well, there's quite a bit of consulting there as we build the system. A lot of these software packages, we'll just call it a system rather than the software. A lot of these systems are based on how much data you're intaking into the system, and that's how they calculate the price for these things. So based on the amount of data that we have across our enterprise, based on the number of systems and data that we're currently housing, that's how we projected out the price. The implementation piece with a consultant is really, trying to make sure that we're capturing everything from all of the different areas, and that, as we pull it in, we're pulling it in the right way, and we're building our rules the right way to ensure that we're not trying to learn as we go, where, we've seen in the past, and this is one of those maturity things that I talked about, while we want to learn as we go, this is one of the areas where we would like it to take off and be on the right level and be capturing the right data out of the gate. And that's why we're asking for these consulting services to go with this software. So the exact breakdown between the two, I don't have in front of me, but they're both needed. I can't do one without the other.
Well, certainly security is on everyone's mind in terms of security of the system and protecting data. A lot of obviously very sensitive personal data on state systems. And so you've got to do an RFP.
Yes, we have a drafted RFP right now.
Okay. And the House you've already been in and made your case before the House. What did they do with it?
They passed it through.
Okay. All right. There have been times when we have seen things differently than the House, but in this case, the request was accepted. All right. Committee, I'm just looking for hands and related to the need to do this and this investment for systems. Okay.
Go for it.
Stephanie, I have a question. Is this all general fund? I don't suppose any of the federal funding sources like food stamps or Medicaid, where you don't have caps on admin, is this all general fund, or can some of it be cost allocated? Or probably because ADS is doing it, it's all general fund.
It came over from the governor as all general fund, and out of the House is all general fund. It's not one of the ones they switched.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Senator, as you know, once we cost allocate next year, that would be spread across the different, they'll pay for that with, I think, about 40% federal funds.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other comments or questions? Well, this might be the easiest 3.3 million you've managed to acquire, Secretary. It's just everyone knows the importance and the imperative to not be lax about this. I guess the other question, because we did fund, and that's the arrangement with Norwich. Can you just speak to us a bit in terms of what has been the experience to date in having that resource available to the state?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a positive experience all the way around, and it's been multifaceted, from them being able to help respond and do some of the log aggregation and analysis for us, because we don't have the staff. You know, we would need 30 people in our security unit. So to be able to offload some of that to Norwich, have someone supervise their kids to get them real world experience, as well as a pipeline for us to be able to have new cyber talent come into the state. On several occasions, we've had Norwich students take full-time jobs with us. They don't always stay that long, but it is great to have new, fresh perspectives and new cyber talent coming in. This system in particular will not only help us, but it'll help Norwich be able to turn around I don't want to say a solution, but capture the data they need faster to analyze and to be able to pinpoint maybe where something happened or where someone was able to get through. So we work very closely with Norwich. It's been a really good relationship.
Yeah, some of those students are pretty sharp.
They are. Yep.
Okay, any other questions of the secretary? Otherwise, we can move on. We have the request here. I'm looking at it on the other screen. Stephanie approached it. So we are ahead of schedule by 15 minutes.
That's good.
Chrissy, I don't know whether we could start moving up any of the 2 o'clock people or not. Thank you very much, Secretary.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and zip them a note and see if they can hop on in the next couple minutes.
Yeah, at least if we could get started, they all don't need to be here to listen to each other's testimony, but if we could have maybe Gus, Jen, and Josh or whatever, that would be a good start.
Okay, I'm going to zip them a note right now. Do you want to take a pause, or do you want to have some committee discussion?
Let's just
Why don't we take a pause, please,
Okay,
and go